Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for joining me again on Wisdom on Wednesday, and I'm Ray. I've been excited for all of our interactions, been excited for the commentary. I appreciate the feedback, and I appreciate you liking and sharing the message. We all have to work together to continue to get the algorithm to push the channel farther, and we're reaching it. We're getting more and more members, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing. But keep sharing, keep putting it on your social media. Help us out as we continue to share this little bit of wisdom God has given us to share with each other. I really appreciate you guys getting in the trenches with me as we grow together. Now, many times it's very difficult to just sit down and try to come up with topics. So I purposely ask God to help me to continue to strengthen my thought process, to be empathetic, and to think about things that many people are possibly going through, or many things that people have already overcome, and just maybe need to know that they're not by themselves. So, as I was praying per usual, I want to encourage you, wise people. If you can take it, you can make it. Wise people have understood, or they're going through the process of understanding, or a wise person doesn't have to go through everything. Maybe they observe somebody that they admire go through some things that were tough and they kept on going. In today's society, many times we give up when it gets difficult, because many people show the things that go well and things that are easy. But I just want to reiterate that if you can continue to go through it, if you can take it, you can make it. Now, when you have a dream, you have a goal, you have an aspiration, sometimes people are going to outcast you and make you think you're weird. When you have drive, when you want to do something special, everyone's not going to understand your dream. When you have said your dream to people, when you've talked about your goals, when you've talked about your plans for your family, when you've talked about career goals, scholastic goals, ministry goals with people, sometimes people don't understand your drive. People don't understand why you would put in so much work. People don't understand why you would dedicate your time and sacrifice time to this particular thing. But I want to encourage you today that if you can take the ridicule, if you can take being an outcast, if you can take people not speaking to you as much, you're going to make it. Many times we introspect and we see people look at us weird, or people's conversation may change up on us. And many times we look at ourselves and we say something must be wrong with us. I want to validate your thoughts as best as possible. There is something wrong with you. You're not ordinary. You're not satisfied with being sedentary. You're not in a space where you just feel like mediocre is your message for life. Recognize this, that being mediocre will make your life less meaningful. It's comfortable, but it's mediocre. You can fit in like everybody else. But when you're one who chases your dreams, when you're one that's willing to sacrifice being invited to parties, one that's willing to stay up and study, one that's willing to spend more time with your children than your coworkers, people are going to think something's wrong with you. Not necessarily that something's wrong with you. Let me make sure I say that correctly, but they don't understand you. And when people don't understand you, they think something's wrong with you. So I want to encourage you today that just because you're misunderstood doesn't mean something's wrong with you. If you can take it, you can make it. Many times you'll share your dreams with people that you thought were close to you, and those people won't accept you, or they'll shun you, or they won't see your dream the way you see it. I want to encourage you yet again, they're not supposed to see it in the manner in which you do. That dream, that aspiration, that goal was given to you. And many times, if you can take it, the taking it is a part of the process as God is making you into who He wants you to be. I love that. It's not fun when we're going through it, but at the end of the journey, we can see what the late nights were about. At the end of the journey, we can see what the tears were about. At the end of the journey, we can see why some relationships had to end. It doesn't mean that because that relationship ended that there's something's wrong with you or something's wrong with that person. But that person has ended their season in your life. They've come as far as they can go. And just because they're not with you doesn't mean that your dreams, your goals, your aspirations are not valid. It just means those people could only take you as far as you could go. I'm often reminded of 1986. I believe the rocket that went into the atmosphere was the Challenger. And we were sitting around in a schoolroom looking at the astronauts and their faces on the screen. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And watching the rocket take off and get into the atmosphere. Now, the design of the rocket was that it had boosters on both sides. The booster's sole job was to help the rocket get out of the atmosphere. The booster's only job, pay attention here, was to get the rocket off the ground into the atmosphere. Because once the boosters finished their jobs, they both fell off. But the rocket was designed to take more strenuous environments than the boosters could. If the boosters had went to the same space where the rocket was designed to go, they would have had some type of damage done to them. But they had to fall off, and the rocket continued to propel. So what I want to encourage you today is that there are some people who are in your lives. There are some things that happen in your lives. There are some misfortunes that happen in your life to ultimately prepare you on the journey. If you can take it, you can make it. Just because situations have changed, seasons have changed, venues have changed, doesn't mean the dream has to change. Just because you tell your dream to your brothers, like Joseph did, and they became jealous of him, and he went and told his dream to his parents, and his parents didn't realize what was going on inside of him, and they started looking at him funny. But you know what happened in Joseph's dream? Joseph's dream ultimately got him sabotaged by his brothers, and he was thrown into a pit. That seems terrible, but I'm so glad the story doesn't end there. He was sold from that pit into Potiphar's house, and from Potiphar's house, he was lied on. Friends, I just want to keep telling you, if you can take it, you can make it. Just because people lie on you, just because people use your name in the wrong light, doesn't mean that your dreams will be deferred. So even while he was in prison, he was still being shaped and molded to what he was designed for. Now it was making more sense why that dream was put inside his spirit. The dream wasn't just put inside of him to tell other people, but fortunately, Christian friends, that sometimes you have to tell people your dream so they can hate on you, so they can misalign you, maybe so they can try to sabotage you. Because ultimately, from the pit to Potiphar's house to prison, then from prison, he went to the palace. Now, hold on a minute. His father gave him a special coat to outline who he was. But just because his father gave him something special didn't mean everybody else would treat him special. The thing in you, friend, is that you have something that God only gave you. And sometimes we quit when we're not accepted by our brethren. Sometimes we quit when we're not accepted by our parents. Sometimes we quit when people lie on us. Sometimes we quit when people lock us up and keep us in bondage. But if you don't quit, if you don't stop when people misuse your name, if you keep trusting what God put inside of you, ultimately you're going to get to the palace. And when you get to the palace, it's not just a palace so you can shine and talk about how good you are and you can sit back like a fat cat. But ultimately you get to the palace and everything you went through gave you wisdom to save the nation. Now, your plight in life may not be able to save Egypt, but maybe you can do something on the side of town that you live on. Maybe you can do something special in your family. Maybe all the things you've gone through, all the hell you've gone through is so that you can impart some wisdom, some knowledge into somebody who's coming behind you. If you can take it, you can make it. If you can look back over your life and think of all the things you've gone through, you wouldn't be who you are today. If you had stopped when they didn't understand you on a job, you wouldn't be in the position you're in today. If you would have given up on your marriage, you wouldn't be celebrating the anniversary that you're celebrating today. If you can take it, you can make it. Realize you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. That just because it's hard doesn't mean you have to stop. Just because people don't understand you doesn't mean that you're misunderstood. Just because people don't recognize the gift that's inside of you does not mean you're not gifted. So if I'm telling you something you've heard before, I'm just here to reiterate, wise person. All the things that you're going through today aren't for nothing. What some people may do may mean it for evil, but God ultimately means it for your good. You're going to have to bandage up your knees sometime. You're going to have to bruise up. You're going to have to patch up your bruised ego sometimes. You're going to have to put bandages on your elbows sometimes, getting scraped up. Sometimes you're going to have to go and just walk, not worrying about what people say about you, and keep your eyes to the hills. Keep focusing on what you're focused on, and recognize every person has opinions, but all gifts come from above. That all we have to do is recognize that there's nothing that's going to knock me off of my square. God's given me a dream. God's given me a goal, and I'm going to do it, even if I have to do it hard. If I have to do it hard, I'm going to take every ounce of this pain and use it towards my power. Pain has the opportunity to polish us or to pulverize us. What are you going to do with your pain? Are you going to take your pain and just lay there? Or are you going to use it to polish you, to make you better, to make you into who God created you to be? When people see you now, they remember where you were. You don't even look the same. People won't even recognize you because you didn't quit in the pit. You didn't quit in prison. But by the time they saw you in the palace, they didn't recognize you because you have gone through some things. You've learned some things. You've dusted yourself off and trusted God in spite of what you've been through. So, wise friend, let me encourage you today. If you can take it, you can make it. This is Wisdom on Wednesday with Ray. I pray a word was encouraging for you today. Let me know in the chat if it's something that's inspiring to you. Continue to share, continue to comment, continue to like and subscribe. But as you post on your social media platform, do me a favor, share my video, tag me. Let's let our circle grow. God bless you today. Bye-bye.